Now, speaking of iconic properties that are only in one place that you can get them, something recently that's really interesting has surfaced that has not been seen for literally decades. And really, it's extremely rare and only been seen once by most people. It would appear that suddenly here recently, a rare Soviet Lord of the Rings film has resurfaced, and it's only on YouTube. As first reported by The Guardian, a Soviet Union era television adaptation of J.R.R. Tolkien's beloved works was recently rediscovered and uploaded to stream for free on YouTube. The Russian language 1991 made for TV movie is titled, I'm going to butcher the fuck out of this, Carentally. I don't know. What I just said. Lord of the Rings in Russian, I assume. And is based on the first novel in the Lord of the Rings trilogy, The Fellowship of the Ring. Posted to YouTube in two parts, the streams have earned a combined 800,000 views and counting in 1 week. The Guardian claims the video is the only adaptation of the Lord of the Rings trilogy believed to have been made in the Soviet Union. Lord of the Rings aired on television in 1991 only once before it disappeared. The film's score was composed by Andrei Romanoff of the rock band Akvarium. For the last 30 years, the movie has remained lost in the Leningrad television vault, and it was not found until 5TV, the successor to Leningrad Television, uploaded it to YouTube for free. According to Russia's Tolkien website World of Fantasy, Lord of the Rings fans have been searching the archives but had not been able to find this film for decades. As The Guardian notes, the Soviet version includes some plot elements left out of Peter Jackson's $93 million blockbuster. Really, 93? It only cost $93 million to make that first movie? Holy shit. Looks really good for that. Anyway, including an appearance by the character Tom Bombadil. That was a really good exclusion there, Peter Jackson. I'm just saying. That's coming from a lover of the books and the movies, but I was a lover of the books long before the movies, and the exclusion of Tom Bombadil was not. That was a good move. Anyway, a forest dweller cut from the English language version because he was too long-winded and failed to move the plot forward. I agree. Yes, he was too long-winded. He had absolutely nothing to do with anything. He didn't really move anything forward. It's just a lot of singing, and it was kind of a screeching to a halt, hit the brakes moment in the first book. But that's just my take. I'm sure I know they're for a fact because I've had discussions with them. There are people that love good old Tom. But that's not all we're talking about here. We're talking about another version of Lord of the Rings, my favorite film of the ever made. The whole thing, all three. I consider all three one big ass long movie, and I love that movie. I love that series. I loved the books since I was a child. So to hear about another version of it, sure, I was aware of the animated version that came out in the 70s, or was it 60s or 70s, and I've seen those. Yeah, they exist, but I was interested to see this. I've watched and reviewed quite a few Russian films on my channel, so I was interested in seeing this. Unfortunately, as of right now, there are no subtitles, no dub, or no way for me to understand this film because I do not speak Russian. So watching it was a bit odd. I watched a few minutes of it and I turned it off because I said, eventually there will be some subtitles or something so I can understand this. While I do know the story and I was aware of, hey, that's this character, that's that one, this is what's going on, I'd really like to understand what it is they're saying. Yeah, this thing was a trip. It's a 1991 Russian TV film of Lord of the Rings. Whatever springs to mind when you say it, when you think of that, when you hear that, it's about that, but maybe even a little bit more out there. Look at this picture. Look at this picture you're seeing here up on screen, right here. That's not like superimposed. That is a image from the film. The human characters are apparently fucking giants, and the hobbits truly are like really little people. But I didn't watch the whole thing, of course, because I did say I wanted wait until there was a version I could understand. But this is really interesting, and it's a neat little piece of history because if you know anything about the Soviet Union, they were very big into censoring what their people could, what media they took in, and that goes, of course, to film and television. Internet wasn't an issue back then, but that went to books even, and the book, The Lord of the Rings, or the books, weren't published, I think, until like the early 80s. I could be a little off there, but I don't think that they were officially published over there in an edited form, I believe, until like 1982. And that was just the first one. I think the later books were even later on. I mean, people were aware of it, and I'm sure they had some bootleg books, which is kind of funny to think of, but there were bootleg books and things like that. But people weren't able to experience this wonderful world, legally at least, until the mid-'80s, and it was edited at that point. So, when this movie came out, it really wasn't that old compared to, it wasn't like, oh, this is based on a book that we read, decades ago. This is just, 6-7 years ago or whatever, whenever they started to make this thing. But this is just kind of a funny kind of story. It's really out there and odd. When I saw this, I was like, what, a Russian Lord of the, or Soviet Lord of the Rings? What the fuck? It's out there, man. It's crazy. I really want to see the whole thing so I can take it all in. I would, if there's any viewers out there, if a subtitled version, or a version where I can understand what it is they're saying, if there are any viewers out there that know, speak Russian and can give me a transcript of this thing, I would be willing, because those of you that follow my channel know that I'm by no means a voice actor, but on my streams and stuff, I do like to do voices and things when reading text and all that, and I enjoy doing these things. I would absolutely myself, 100%, and I would edit it and cut it together, because this is a public domain thing here. I would absolutely edit my own dub for this. If I knew what the fuck they were saying, and I could actually, I had a translation of what they were saying when they were saying it, I would myself totally do every single voice in this thing and do a full-on dub for this. I swear to God, I would do it if I could get a translation of it. I would do it with this microphone on this computer and edit the whole thing together. I would be thrilled to do that and put it out there for the world, for the English-speaking world, to be able to experience this just something, whatever it is. I'm not going to say it's a masterpiece. It might be, who knows? Look up the picture of Gollum, by the way. I don't have it here, but just to kind of get you an idea of the parity of quality between this version and the 2001 Fellowship of the Ring. Yeah, it's it's a Soviet 1991 TV movie. Okay, it is what it is. I think it'd be great. I would love to do that. I really want to see this thing, or not just see it. I want to understand it. I want to watch this and understand what's going on in it. So I'm really hoping we get some subtitles soon. It's definitely worth checking out just to kind of see, even if you don't watch the whole thing, just a few minutes of it, especially for Tolkien lovers, just to kind of see a totally different take on it. It's some good fun, and it's some pretty good. I'm sure we're going to be getting some really interesting clips from this thing with some interesting dubs, if you will, and maybe even some memes, because there's some really out there looking stuff in it. I mean, just look at this picture here, and that's pretty tame. I mean, this thing is, it's really out there, but absolutely worth checking out. Just a fun little story. I really just wanted to talk about it and put it out there that if anybody speaks Russian and you can translate this thing for me, send me a transcript with some time codes or something so I can line it all up. I will abso-fucking-lutely record a dub for this thing. I swear I will, and I'll put it out there for the world to enjoy. But yeah, that's coming from a Lord of the Rings lover. I will consume anything Lord of the Rings because I love the Lord of the Rings. And it seems like, even though this thing was pretty, is a different take, I do think that there was a passion here in making it. Whether they were successful or not, well, we'll see, but I think that there was a passion here. So seeing as how they weren't just trying to like milk it for something, and they were actually passionate about telling the story, I can get on board with it. I'm cool with it. So yeah, Lord of the Rings Soviet edition. It's on YouTube right now. Just search Soviet Lord of the Rings. It'll pop up. You'll know it when you see it. So absolutely worth it. Somebody get me that transcript though, and I will absolutely do that. Check it out. Thanks for checking out this clip from the Jarcast Movie Podcast. If you like this and want more, then check out the Jacob Anders Review YouTube channel, where you can also find movie reviews every Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and Sunday. You can also listen to the entire podcast on all major podcasting platforms such as Spotify, Google, and iTunes. So if you prefer audio, whichever one is your preferred, check it out there. Once again, I really appreciate it, and thanks for watching. And as always, stay sexy, YouTube.